busy. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditties. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to rhyme. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Welcome, guys. Miss Liz in the house, and I have the incredible and beautiful, elegant, beautiful founder of Inspired Journal, Rosslyn Castro, and we're going to be talking about her event that's coming up in May and all of her good stuff in the magazine. So get ready for that because we're going to inspire you guys. But today's tea that we're serving you is truth, elegance, and authenticity. That is the tea we are serving in the house. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. Get over to all those platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those good platforms. Give those a like, follow, subscribe, and get these tea times out there because they do make a difference for all my guests. Don't forget all the podcast apps out there, Spotify, Podbean, Listen Notes, and check out babyboomers.org because Miss Liz is partnered with them. And you can find other podcasts that are in there that will resonate with some of my listeners out there. So let's get started with disclaimer and then a beautiful intro. And then we're going to spill some tea with Rosslyn, and we're going to make a difference today to you guys. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I, Miss Liz, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly on my email, bookingmissliz@gmail.com, or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Let me just get this. Welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where voices are not just heard, they are elevated, honored, and given the space to create impact. Today's guest is someone who understands that storytelling is more than words. It is a tool for visibility, leadership, and lasting change. Please join me in welcoming Rosslyn Castro, founder and CEO of the Inspired Journal and the Inspired Voices. Rosslyn leads a full-service publishing and media production company dedicating to champion women's voices around the world. Through her national magazine, collaborative anthology books, and production services, and the annual In Summit, she has built platforms that open doors, expand visibility, and create real opportunity for women in leadership. With over 15 years of experience in strategic leadership, business development, and marketing, Rosslyn brings both structure and purpose to everything she creates. Her work is rooted in one powerful belief that intentional storytelling can shift perception, drive action, and shape culture. She doesn't just help women tell their stories, she helps them ensure those stories are seen, respected, and remembered. So grab your cup and lean in. Today's tea time is about voice, visibility, and the power of storytelling to create meaningful impact. Let me get Rosslyn in here and let's spill some tea together. Welcome, Rosslyn.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Liz, for having me.
Well, it is a pleasure to have you here. So, Rosslyn, I'm going to take you down a little rabbit hole first before we get started in Inspired Journey and Inspired Voices. Who was Rosslyn as a little girl and who is Rosslyn now?
Yes, well, that is a rabbit hole. So my parents came from the Philippines. I was born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I have a very big family. I have three big brothers, then me, and then I have four younger sisters. So I'm right in the middle. And growing up, I didn't really have a voice because when you come from a culture where, you honor your family, you honor your parents, you know, everything is yes, mom, yes, dad. So our voices become silent. And it's quite honorable actually in our culture to be silent. It's actually respectable. So growing up where my voice was silenced is actually a good thing. But as I got older, I went to college, I started realizing I was like, wow, I have a lot of suppressed emotion, and I didn't realize I held a lot of that against my parents. And after doing a lot of talking and speaking to my parents, they didn't even realize, that's something that they held on to and that they learned from their parents, and I recognized that they did the best that they could with what they had, right? So I think a lot of it is the evolution, right? So we have to teach our kids as well, right? Because I have children as well now, and I talk to them a lot about this, about our emotions, speaking about it, our voices. So as a little girl, now that I see myself, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that I was also silent. And now when I see the things that I do, I look at myself, I'm like, wow, I was that little girl that couldn't even raise her hand to use the bathroom. Because people see me now and they're like, wow, you're so out there, you're so extroverted. And I was like, no, that was not me at all. I'm actually an introvert. I actually like being at home. I like being at home watching a movie, but I think because I found my voice, I've learned to start speaking it. And in doing so, what I found, Miss Liz, is other women needed that. They needed that person to speak their voice. And they said, wow, I went through that too. So I think because I used my voice, I allowed other women to do the same.
I'm a strong believer in that. And that's why I asked that question, who we are as little people, right? And then big people, because a lot of it has to do with what we did in our childhood, where we were silenced as a child. When we become older, we find our voices and we become the example and the role model that we were seeking as a child. And that's what I got when I looked into Inspired Journal and Inspired Voices, was you being the example, being the role model and saying, you know what, it's okay to talk. It's okay to have a voice.
Yes.
I get that 100% because I was that most. And when I found my voice, I was just like, you know what, I'm using it. And even if I'm going to be a little different and come across a little different, I'm going to still use my voice because it's going to inspire someone else. And I love that word, inspire. We need to say that word more often.
Yes.
So Rosslyn, tell us a little bit about how Inspired Journal came and then Inspired Voices came. And let me know which one you would like me to pop up on the screen so people can see, and then we'll talk about those.
Awesome. Let's talk about Inspired Journal. So that actually began with my journey. Again, the voice, right? It began in my journey of corporate America. Again, growing up, my parents told me, go to school, right? Get an education, because these are the things, right, that they wanted me to do. So I went to school, I got an education, got my bachelor's, worked up the corporate ladder. I became the VP of marketing and communications with a very big company. I worked there for over a decade. Again, not opening my voice, but it worked very hard. Went there every day, always early. I was the last one that left, so I worked really hard. And suddenly there was a new hire. He was fresh out of college. He was the new operation. He was the chief of operations. We just bumped head. He didn't agree with my leadership style. He thought that I should be more aggressive. He didn't believe that women should be in leadership position. So after a lot of the bumping of heads, one day they called me into the boardroom, and I thought for sure, I was like, oh my God, for sure the CEO is going to take my side because I've been there for over 10 years. I was like, yes, finally, right? He finally set up a meeting, right? And then so I walked in, and I don't know if you've ever had this feeling where you walk in and you just feel the energy. It was like grim. I was like, oh my goodness, like, whoa, the energy was dark. And I walked in, I first looked at the CEO and he looked down. I was like, oh my gosh, something's about to happen. And then I looked at the newly appointed chief of operations. And then, so he was like, take a seat, Rosslyn. So I sat down. The CEO said, Rosslyn, thank you so much for everything that you've done for this company. You've done such a great job. You've opened up new markets. So he said this whole grand speech of everything that I've done. It took him like 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, I was like, oh my God.
You already knew what was coming.
Right. I already know, like, get it over with, but he just wanted to like butter it up. Right. And he was like, I don't want to fire you because it might affect your unemployment benefits. So I want you to resign. And so he had a piece of paper. There was a paper with a written document that I supposedly wrote under my name with Rosslyn, dear CEO, sincerely Rosslyn, and I just had to sign it. Basically, I was resigning. So he was forcing me to resign. And I looked at the document and I was like, wow, I had a lot of things to say, but I didn't say it. And I was just taken back, and I was like, okay, I signed it. I signed the document because at the end of the day, I was like, if I said A, B, and C, would that make a difference? Right? I signed the document. He gave me a check. Here is your check plus more. So I did that. And then I went home. I was very strong, packed my things. I sat in the car. Of course, I cried, right? I cried in the car. I went home and I was like, you know what? I need to do something about this. And I need to start something where women in leadership are valued, right? Where our voices are not stifled, where we're actually elevated. And it took me some time, but that's where Inspired Voices was birthed. And it first started with our magazine, where I started highlighting women who were doing really great things, where they weren't getting recognized, right? Even within the home, a lot of stay-at-home moms, a lot of them, I asked them, I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, you're just a stay-at-home mom? I'm like, no, you are raising the next generation, so like little things like that, like I want to make sure they're seen, they're heard, they're valued, right? So that's how Inspired Journal began. Like I wanted to create this little movement, and it started with 20 women who said yes, I want to be recognized. And when it started with that 20 women, it just rippled onto more women, and then more women. And then as soon as you know it, we had an annual event. And now we've been doing this. This event marks 15 years that I've been doing women's events.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I love that you're celebrating stay-at-home moms, because I was like that. I'm just a podcaster. I'm just a speaker. I'm just an advocate. That word "just" sometimes puts us in that just box that we don't need to be in.
Right.
But until we find that voice and that courage within us, right, to speak up and say, you know what, I'm not that just. I am who I am. And I come to the table with something, and I offer something. And I love that you said raising the next generation, because that's exactly what moms are doing.
That's what
And
we're doing.
some fathers out there as well. I have male listeners out there. There are some incredible fathers out there as well. But today we're talking about the women and
Mhm.
leadership and that. And I'm glad that you shared that story with us about corporate America, because I've heard that many a times from a lot of my guests, that they were treated really badly. They gave so much years of their life to these companies, and then these companies are just like, you got to go.
Yeah, with a blink of an eye. I was there for over a decade. So with the blinking of an eye, he was able to just let me go.
Wow. Rosalind, I'm going to bring up the first one that's yellow, because that's also Rosalind's favorite color is yellow. So we're going to get into her favorite color as well. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen, if you guys would like to know a little bit more about Rosalind, just check out the bottom. I have like little mini bios on the screen for all the video audios. Just blow the screen up and you can see all the incredible things that she's done. Rosalind, let's talk about this magazine here, Silent Whispers.
So Silent Whispers is an anthology book, and this showcases 20 women's stories. And Silent Whispers, where that name came from, again, this came from a season of my life, right, where I was silent. So a lot of women think that I was never silent, right? And a lot of women think I'm so strong, that I speak so well, and I articulate myself so well. But again, I came from a place and a season where I was once silent. And this is why I compiled these 20 stories in volume 1, where I brought together their stories, where they write in one chapter one pivotal story that changed their life. And these 20 authors, oh my goodness, they really did it in these stories. One of the chapters I want to share is called The Silver Lining by Dr. Yolanda Payne. And she talks about losing her son. And it came so sudden. They didn't realize any conditions in the son. And just one day he didn't wake up, and these are the stories, again, that are not told, right? And she's a firm believer of God. She's actually a pastor. She's a minister. And for her to say that she lost faith in her God, that's huge. And so for her to share it here in the Silent Whispers is such a beautiful thing. And again, another story, Trish Steele. Trish Steele is actually the founder of Safe Passage. For her to share her story of her being abused by her stepfather and her being silent as a young child, she has not told her mother about that until the stepfather has left the house. So these, again, are the stories that are silent, and we have captured it in the Silent Whispers book.
So, Rosalind, why the yellow for the first one?
Yellow is my favorite color. A lot of the times, when we think of these stories, sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard to tell, and it's hard to read. So when you pick this book up, I want you to see brightness, right? Because a lot of these women, when they tell these stories, they've went over the horizon. They were able to tell this story. So because these stories are hard to read, I still want people to look at it, and it's bright, it's happy. And that's what yellow signifies.
I like yellow, and my granddaughter's favorite color is yellow. Everything is yellow. If you ask her and you tell her, well, my favorite color is, no, Nanny, my color is yellow. And since she was like 2 years old, yellow, 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 so yellow is an amazing color, and it really does brighten up the day.
Yes.
You can't say yellow without smiling.
And you can't miss it, right? You can't miss it.
Right there. And yellow is also an awesome marketing color.
Yes, it very much is. Yeah. And I love yellow. I was actually going to wear yellow today, but it was too cliche. I was like, wait, she already knows I like yellow. So I was like, let's stick to something brown.
I was looking forward to wearing, I got the yellow on for you, but I was looking forward to seeing you in yellow, but I got the image at the bottom here of you in yellow, Rosalind. So
next time, Miss Liz, I'll put my cute yellow top on.
Well, Rosa, we have some questions that are coming in that I would like to get out to you. The first one is, what inspired you to create a platform dedicating to amplifying women's voices? You shared a little bit at the beginning of the show, but if you want to get a little deeper into that.
So, what inspired me is through my own journey. And also, another story that I want to share is through my daughter. My daughter's father, who I got a divorce from, and one of the biggest factors that kind of helped me get a divorce from her dad is I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, reach for the stars, do your best, right? And I looked in her eyes one day and I felt like I was lying to her, because I was not doing my best, because I knew I was not in the relationship that I was in, and that was with her father, right? And it was like a pivotal moment where I was like, reach for the stars, do your best. And I'm looking at my daughter. How can I tell my daughter to reach for the stars, always do your best, be the best person that you can be, when her mom is not doing that? Right. So I told myself that day, so she was my inspiration. And I tell her all the time, like, she was my inspiration for building this platform even stronger, because my children really helped me live the life that I wanted to, because I cannot tell my kids to do their best if their mom's not doing their best. Because at the end of the day, I tell them, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Right. And they're watching.
Yes.
They are watching, whether you want to believe it or not. They are
Yes.
watching, and they want us to be that role model and that example. So if we're saying reach for the stars, but we're not reaching for those stars, they're saying, well, you know what? I'm only going to partially reach for that one little star, and I'm not going to go for the big star, so we kind of hold them back as well, because we're not shining bright. So,
Right. Yeah. And I remember one moment my daughter had mentioned to me, she's like, why are you always mad? And that was heartbreaking. I was like, what? And I didn't realize that I was, right. And I was like, wow, for your daughter to say those things, why am I always mad? But remember, emotions come from deep within, right? Like when you talk about your childhood, that comes from deep within. So when she said that, I was like, I need to do some introspect. So this is why Inspired Journal is why it's inspired, because it also gives me inspiration, because it helps me inspire others through my own journey.
yeah. And sometimes we need that wake up call, and kids are the best ones to wake us up.
They will tell you the truth.
They will, whether we want to hear it or not. They will tell us the truth. And sometimes,
Yes.
we'll be like, it's not that bad, but then we sit back and we're like, oh, it is that bad.
Yes, they will tell you the truth. So if you want to know the truth, speak to a young child.
Absolutely. So what do your children think of the magazine and the work that you're doing today, Rosslyn?
They love it. I had my son attend one of my publication parties. It was the summer publication party of last year. So that was 2025. And I had him be one of my helpers. So he was the one selling the magazines, right? So he was collecting the money. He was like, it's $20 each, and he was like, Mom, somebody was trying to swindle me. He was like, it was $10. And then he was like, no, but my mom said it's 20. So it was so funny. He was telling me that story. But what was interesting is when on the drive home, it was so beautiful. He was like, Mom, I didn't know you were the CEO of Inspired Journal. And I was like, what? I told you. I was like, I told you I'm the CEO and I'm the president, and I'm, because we tell them these things, but they're like, whatever, she's not. But he heard them introduce me, right? He heard someone else introduce me, and they're like, stand up for the CEO and founder. And everybody's like, ah. And so he felt that, he heard everybody clap for me. And so this was one of the first times he came to my publication party and that he heard me speak. Right. So he was like, I didn't know that you were a big deal. And I was like, what?
My mom.
Yeah. And then the second thing, he was like, I didn't know you were funny. I was like, what? I was like, okay. Thank you so much for your feedback. So they're very proud, and I think it's so nice for them to see all of this, and it's also clear to see that they don't think that you're a big deal until they see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love getting these stories out there because, you know, for the kids that are watching Tea Time, they're like, that's just Miss Liz. But my kids are the same way too. Mom, like, I didn't know that you know all those people. And I was just like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And you keep the humor only for the events, right? So the kids think that mom is
Right.
not funny, right?
Exactly, because we have a different relationship, right, with our kids. We cannot be their friend. We can't always be funny. We have to structure them. We have to discipline them. So they get a different person, right? But at the event, you know, I have to be, you know, nice, strong, a little bit of funny. So when he saw that side, he was like, I didn't know you're funny. I was like, okay, yeah. That's the last time you're coming. No kidding.
Well,
But it was so nice. Yeah.
Rosalind, what changes have you seen in women's leadership in the last 3 years?
You know, there's been a really big change and a great shift with women in leadership. And I've just seen more women step up. Stepping up in a sense where women are seeing that they can actually be stronger leaders, right? There's still more work to be done because we still see stories like myself that are happening a lot, because a lot of times people think leadership looks aggressive, right? And they still think that, right? And so we have to change that narrative. You know, leadership looks like this for us. You know, it can look soft, it can look feminine, but it can still create changes. Look at all the things that we're able to do with this type of leadership. So I think there's still a lot of work to do, but I'm seeing a big rise in women leadership. One thing that I can say is we need a female president. I would love to see that.
We need a female prime minister in Canada.
Let's do that too.
You know, we need to see change, and there is change coming. I had a guest on D.A. Murray, and she talked about women leadership in the future, about her book. And I think it's possible. There is big changes coming for women. The roles are changing. And I think it's time that we see those roles change.
I agree. And again, I think what happens is we think in women, the type of leadership, we think it has to look aggressive, right? And I think that's a false identity, because leadership can look soft and feminine, but also we can create change in that type of fashion. So I think we're seeing it differently, and that shift needs to happen. I just spoke with the senator of Washington State just this morning, and she's like the most down-to-earth woman that you could ever speak to, right? Like, we think a senator from like whatever state, Washington, like you think she's like hard, stern, or whatever it is, but she's so soft, she laughs so cute. You know, so like when I see women like that, I think to myself, I'm like, wow, this can be done. Women in leadership can have that heart-centered type of leadership.
Well, I think there's a reason behind being stern when the time is right, but also being sensitive and have empathy towards different situations, you know. And I think that's why women are the nurturer, and we have that empathy where we can look at each other and say, you know, I think we need to be a little less stern and be a little bit more empathetic at this moment. And I think that's where the leadership in women is different. And I think that's kind of like where the story went, like when you first shared about your coworker, you know, not looking at women in the same light, is because they see leadership as stern, as the head of the house, you know, where women are kind of, we're the head of the house, but we're also going to open our house.
Right.
If that
Great
makes
point.
sense.
I love that.
Rosalind, for you, what does truth, elegance, and authenticity look like in real life, not just in words?
So for me, I'm a mother, right? And my little one is 6 years old. And what's interesting is I brought her to our tea party, our high tea party, and a lot of the ladies didn't know that I had a 6 year old. And what that looks like for me is I'm a working mom. You know, when I'm at home, I'm a mom. When she's at school, I'm at work. And the truth is, I don't have it all together. And that's okay, right? I tell women a leader doesn't have it all together, and that's okay. And a lot of times, people are trying to have it all together and they think that's what a leader looks like, but that's not the truth. And they think that's the reason why they're not leaders is they're supposed to have it together. And I'm okay not having it together. I'm okay being imperfect. I'm okay showing vulnerability. I'm okay asking for help. That was one of the biggest thing I can tell you. One of my biggest flaws is I was afraid of asking for help, because if I asked for help, I thought that I was failing. And again, that went back to my childhood. That went back to my childhood, that I had to be strong. I had to do everything on my own. I had to make it work. Don't show people what you're going through, but I had to look back at myself and say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to not have it together. It's okay not to be strong all the time. It's okay to ask for help. So for me, that's what it looks like.
I like that message. It's okay.
Yes,
It's that simple, guys. It's okay to ask.
it's okay.
Um, and we need a team. You can't do everything by yourself. Even as a mom, you need the help, right? It's a whole community of people
You
helping
do.
raise children. Um, when you hear the word elegance, Rosalind, what comes to mind for you? Because a lot of women, when they hear the word elegance, they think it's dolled up. What does elegance mean to you?
I think of manners. When I think of elegance, I think of someone poised, like with great manners. And that can look like please, thank you, good morning, a smile. And it's not being dolled up, like you said, Miss Liz. It's not having makeup, because a lot of times I don't have makeup. You guys are lucky. You guys have the makeup Rosslyn today. Because I'm on camera. But a lot of times I'm in my mom mode. I have my hair back in a bun. The most I have is eyebrows, but I'm not dolled up. But I do have a smile, right? That's being elegant. My shoulders are back. I give my best every day. That's me being elegant. I'm polite to people. I try to help everyone that I can, of course. That to me displays elegance.
Thank you for sharing that. I really want to get that out there for my female listeners, because a lot of women they come to me and they say, "Well, I don't have a pretty dress, or I don't have uh, a nice outfit that I can wear to show up," and I'm just like, "Please and thank you is enough."
Yes,
Like the manners is elegance. Like we
yes.
don't hear please and thank you enough in today's world.
Yeah, and it makes a really big difference. My dad always told me, people will judge you in 30 seconds by the way you speak.
Yeah,
So elegance is a really big part of your mannerism.
absolutely. Well, Rosin, why is storytelling such a powerful tool for change, especially for women?
I believe it's really powerful because once you share your story, it really opens a gateway, right? It's more like a can of worms, if you will. It opens a gateway for other women to start sharing their stories. I want to give you an example. Once I started sharing my story of my domestic violence situation, I had a woman start breaking down. She was crying. And I was like, why are you crying? Because I was like, I should be crying. And she was like, because I've been through the same thing and nobody believed me. That's what she told me. And I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. And she was like, thank you so much for sharing your story and for showing me that you're now 5 years after me, right? Because she was just going through it. And she felt like it was a divine intervention that she had met me, because I just went to the coffee shop and I was getting my coffee, and I actually got her coffee accidentally. I got her coffee and I actually drank it. And
You're like, what the heck?
I already drank her coffee, and I had lipstick. I left the lipstick on the coffee, so I couldn't return it already. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but you can have my coffee. And she was like, oh, okay. So that's how we end up talking. So I felt like it was a divine intervention, right? And then so we just end up talking. I'm like, I'm Rosslyn. I'm so sorry, for taking your coffee. I come here every day and I buy the same coffee every day. I was like, what is this? So she ordered chai, and I never ordered chai, and I didn't like it, but I drank it anyway, just to talk story with her. But I told her, I just moved to Chino Hill and this is what happened. And then she started crying because I told her of the story. But I just told her because I felt like it was healing for me. I just started telling people my story, and she started crying, and I was like, are you okay? And she was like, I'm going through that situation right now. And, I started telling people and they don't believe me. I don't know what to do. And then I was like, I'm so sorry. And then I just gave her a few phone numbers, right? And I gave her my contact information just in case she wanted to stay in touch. And then she also told me, I'm so glad that I met you, because like she just didn't know what to do. And one thing that I can tell you, women that goes through domestic violence situation, one of the biggest things that happens is isolation. And they don't know what to do because they're isolated. They're afraid to tell someone else, right? They don't know who to tell. So I gave her a few numbers to call to make sure she's safe, right? And to take the next steps. So I did find out a month later that she's fine and that she's safe. But I'm so glad that I met her. And the point of this all is storytelling, right? I told her my story, not even realizing that I helped her, right? And the reason I told her this is I had a therapist at that time, and she told me, she's like, Rosslyn, you need to start telling your story. It's very powerful. And I was like, oh my God, no, it's so silly. Nobody's gonna listen to me. She was like, Rosslyn, trust me, just tell it to a random person, somebody who's willing to listen. I was like, are you sure? And she says, yes, just a random stranger. And so for some reason, she was one of the first ones that I told the story to, just randomly, very naturally. And then when I told her, I was like, wow. I told my therapist, I told her, and she ended up going through that same situation. So she was like, did you give her numbers? Do you have her number? So she was all paranoid. She was like, I hope you led her to the right place. I was like, I did all that.
But storytelling, and I say this all the time, I see it with Teatime, right? Storytelling is the new ripple effect of healing.
Yes.
Yes. Because when one person shares a story, there's one person out there listening. One person. And then one person. And then one person. It's like throwing a rock in the river, right? You have that ripple effect. Until somebody sees, it's almost like we're scared to do it on our own. But as soon as we do it, then we see the ripple effect. And I'm sure that's what you've seen in the last 15 years with your event, is you've seen the effect of the first year to the 15th year of the changes and the voices, and the more courageous the women are coming to the stages. When I first started talking and sharing my story, Rosslyn, I was a mouse. And as I shared over the years, I became louder and louder. But there's still moments and still parts of my story where I'm like, ooh, and I still tear up and I get choked up. And domestic abuse is the hardest thing out there, because a lot of people do not believe it, because it is always done behind a closed door.
Yes.
Even family will be like, oh, I don't believe this because I've never seen it. Well, no, you didn't see it because you weren't around. That was the whole point of it, was they didn't want you around to see it.
Yes. Yeah, it's such a taboo subject, Miss Liz, and that's where Inspired Voices, it's a 501c3 comes in. So I started Inspired Voices 501c3 after Inspired Journal, and that's where it came in because it again from my journey, right? And why Inspired Voices? It's because it took one voice, and it was my voice to inspire the other voices to come about. And this nonprofit, it helps women of domestic violence and trauma. And I say and trauma because I'm realizing that you don't have to go through domestic violence to have something wrong with you, right? I mean, you can go through trauma and still not be able to function in society. Like we go through a lot of things. We have so many layers, as you know. But what we do is we help women tell their stories, and it comes in so many different forms. It comes in writing. We have pathways to authorships. We help them publish their books. We put them in our magazines, and the greatest part, which I love, is we actually help them speak at our events. So we do workshops where we teach them how to speak. We help curate their speeches. And so we actually have 2 first-time speakers speaking at our summit this year.
Well, let's talk about that summit before we run out of time. That is coming on May 20th and 21st, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes. May 20 and 21st, it's happening in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we're bringing together some really amazing women. And every year we do this. So Scottsdale, Arizona, it just came to me. It was a city that God chose us to do. So every year we go to different cities. It's not just Scottsdale. So I was like, why Scottsdale? You know, God, I'm like, why? I don't know anybody in Scottsdale. But we were able to connect with so many new women, Miss Liz. We got the 2 councilwomen involved, the senator of Washington. That was the call that I had this morning. She's coming to the event. So we have a lot of women in Scottsdale and the Phoenix, Arizona, coming to this event. So I'm just very blessed to be able to put this event together for women. And so if anybody's listening out there, I'd love for you guys to attend. We still have room. And if anybody's looking to just be involved as a partner, we'd love that as well.
Yeah, because I did see that you're looking for sponsors as well, correct?
Yes,
Rosslyn?
we're looking for sponsorships.
Well, Rosalind, I want to talk about some of the services that you offer because I want people to know how incredible and how much you offer with your business. So you offer media services, storytelling and documentary, creative lifestyle, events and experimental film and animation, and end-to-end production support. Tell us a little bit about each of those and how people can get involved.
Yes. So aside from our publishing, which is like the books and magazines and all that, we do video production. What we're working on right now is a documentary, and it's a documentary actually on my life. It's called The Homecoming. We filmed it in the Philippines, so it should be ready very soon. And it kind of describes on something that we talked about, Miss Liz, about a little bit about my voice. Without describing it too much, we went to the Philippines to celebrate my parents' 50th anniversary. They've been married for 50 years.
Wow.
So that was so beautiful to be able to celebrate 50 years with them. So we filmed a documentary there. So with the video production, we're able to do documentaries, any type of media services that you can imagine. We do movies. So end-to-end production, you name it, from A to Z, anything to do with video production.
And Rosalind, I want to talk about getting featured with Inspired Journey. How does that work? Because you have different programs. You have the gold, the platinum, diamond, VIP speakers, cover features. Tell us a little bit about all of the different ways of getting featured in the magazine.
Yes. So usually when someone gets started with us, they usually start from the beginning, and that's getting featured with the first page. And then when you get featured with the first page, then we start your chapter in the book with the Silent Whispers book. And then when you do that, then we start with the speaking engagement, and that's usually with the summit. So we help women from becoming a writer to an author and then a speaker.
I like it.
Yes. So
One,
it's like
one, two,
a
and
step
three.
by step.
And it doesn't have to happen all at once, right?
Yes,
Baby
it
steps.
doesn't. It's baby steps. And that's the great part about it, right? And the great thing is I meet women from all different seasons of their lives. Like I have women, they're like, I'm ready to speak right away. Perfect. We're ready for you. But I have women, they're like, I just want to start off small. And I was like, perfect. Then let's start with just a feature, right? Okay, well, I'm ready to write a book or an article. Okay, first, then let's start an article. So we kind of gauge what season they're in and then help them start from there. So that's why we have, the range of different features from the feature to the speaker.
I like it because it's baby steps, it's growing steps,
Yes.
and that's what it's all about. That's what we do with our children, right? We teach them how to
Yes,
crawl and how to walk and how to talk, and then we're like, "Oh
exactly.
no, slow down."
Yeah.
Rosin, I want to get into this question that just came in, and is what does it mean when you say leaders are full of crap? And I have a picture here. Tell us a little bit about this crap, the CRAP.
Yes. So leaders are full of crap: courage, resilience, action, and purpose. So I really believe, again, like I talked about, right? Like leaders, we don't have it all together. Why? Because we have to go through a few things. And in those things, we develop courage, we develop resilience. And in that resilience, we have to take action. And in taking action, we find our purpose. So that's how I came up with crap. And I'm in marketing. That is my background. So when we say leaders are full of crap, they pay attention right away, right? So that's where I got crap. And I truly believe in everyone. Purposeful leadership is where it's all about.
And I like accliments because accliments actually bring us. Oh, where did I go? Accliments actually bring us to understanding things, because
Yes.
you probably got a lot of people that leaders are full of crap. They grab the magazine right away and they're like, what is this?
What is that? Yeah.
What is this? And they probably didn't even look at the bottom words,
They
courage,
did it.
resilience, and action and purpose. They just seen crap and they're like, what is she talking about?
They got interested right away, right?
Talk to us a little bit about your marketing for girls and women and young girls out there, because I get a lot of young women that listen to Teatime. Talk to them a little bit about marketing, and if they're interested in going into the marketing field, what should they
Yeah.
look for and how should they present themselves?
Awesome. Ladies, men, I love marketing. My background is sales and marketing. I kind of had like this knack for marketing, and actually I was brought into it too. Like one of my leaders said, "Hey, I like you. You're great at marketing." So I got a scholarship to go to school for marketing. So when I started with marketing, like I was like, "Oh, I really like this because I was creative." Right? So if you're interested in creatives, writing, marketing is definitely, within your realm. And the great part about marketing is it's something ever evolving, right? It's not something that you learn one time and that's it, right? Because the market is always changing, it's something that you have to constantly grow. And the great part is at Inspired Journal, we actually have an internship program. So if any of you are interested in our internship program, it's for 3 months. We do a structured internship program, and it's accredited with the college. So we give you credit with your college. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, please reach out to us. We're always looking for interns. We love the interns because they help us a lot, and we also teach them a lot.
See, I didn't find that. And that's why I like going down and asking all the different questions, because sometimes that's how I find out things as well. I'm glad that you have that internship. So what age can they be for that internship?
18 and up.
18 and up.
Yeah, as long as they're in the college.
Oh, so it goes with the college. So you work with the different
as long
colleges?
as they're with an accredited college that we're able to give them credits.
And Rosalind, what legacy do you hope to inspire journal leaves for the future generation?
I really want to leave a legacy that voices get amplified. And from there, and to tell you the truth, like I think about my daughter and I want her to take this over. We'll see if she takes this over. But I want the voices not only to get amplified, but for the written word to continue, right? Because they say that publishing and writing is going away, but I refuse to let that go away. So I want the legacy to continue, with the written word to stay, for publishing to stay, because it needs to.
Written word is going to stay because of women like you, Rosalind.
Thank you.
We need those women like you out there to keep these things going, keep the writing and the speaking and the stories going. We have a question here that just came in, and it's, how can women move into being unseen to confidently taking up space?
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear that.
How can women move from being unseen to confidently taking up space?
Awesome. I love that. So you have to take this a step at a time, right? So if you're feeling unseen, you have to look for a mentor. And that's one of the first thing, is you have to put yourself in places where women are actually doing great things. And that's step one, because you cannot isolate yourself. And I understand sometimes we feel unseen and unheard, and that makes us not confident, right? But we have to step outside of the box and put ourselves in places where women are doing big things. And in there, those women will find you and they'll hold your hand, and they spot you right away. They'll be like, her, I want her. So that's how you'll start taking up space, is when you're around those women, because they say you surround yourself with those people, that's who you'll likely be.
A question came in for you, Rosalind, and is, what challenges have you faced as a woman and majority leader, and how did you rise through them?
So I face a lot of challenges. Again, a lot of people think because you reach this level, like you've just made it, right? A lot of challenges that I face is the same as many leaders. Either we get burned out, we don't have a lot of time, because sometimes we have a hard time asking for help. But the biggest thing in that challenge is, you cannot do this alone. And you said it, Miss Liz. I've realized I couldn't do this alone. So I have a team, and you have to be able to trust in your team. And when you have a great team, you can do so much more, because my two hands can only be here and there, right? So when you have a team, they can be here, there. And so that was one of my biggest challenges, asking for help.
Absolutely. And asking for help is not failure. It's not strength of a good leader.
Yes.
We have another question here for you, and it is, how do we create spaces where people feel safe to truly be themselves, Rosalind?
Yes. So the great thing that we do at Inspired Journal is we do little publication parties. And in those spaces, we allow women to come up and tell their stories. And in those safe spaces, like a lot of them cry. So you have to find those spaces where women are actually authentic, and where women tell their stories authentically, right? And where the crowd allows and accepts it. So make sure you're in women's groups where they allow those types of things.
Absolutely. Rosalind, I have some quick questions for you here, and I want to get them out to you. So one word that defines you today.
What word defines me?
One word that defines you today.
One word. Unique.
Oh, there she is. I
Yes.
was looking for it. See, I swing a different way. I come around the corner, because that's the word you gave me for to describe yourself. But I gotta poke at my guests in different ways.
Thanks for poking. Yeah. I have to say I'm unique. Because I don't think the way everybody thinks, and I may not do everything the way people are doing it, and like I told you, it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's
And I
okay.
love it. We go back to it's okay.
Yes,
That is the quote today for this tea time. It's okay.
it's okay. Yeah, and that's something that I tell my 6-year-old daughter, because oftentimes she'll come home and nobody wants to play with me. She was mean to me. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay.
And it's simple to go around and say it's okay. And anybody can say it of all ages, from the age of 2 to the age of 99 and plus. It's okay. Uh,
Yes.
so, Rosalind, what does authenticity feel like for you?
For me, it feels free. It feels free to be who I really am. And it feels that I don't have to put on this mask, right? Because a lot of times, especially as a leader, you feel that you have to be strong for your team. You feel that you have to put on this front, for your team, because your team's going to fall apart if you're not strong, right? But I found that in my vulnerability, my team was stronger. They need to know. They need to know that you're vulnerable. They need to know that you're human. They need to know you
Absolutely.
sleep. They need to know you cry too, because in that they're like, okay, well, if she sleeps and cry, that means I can be a great leader too, right? So it's all about removing that mask, and people see the real you.
And it's really empowering and inspiring today's tea time, because this is the way I like it. I like authentic, real, raw conversations. Remove the mask and be okay. It's okay. Uh,
Yes.
Rosin, what's one truth people need to hear more often?
One thing is that you're beautiful the way you are.
Did you hear that growing up?
Yes. Yes, I did. My dad thinks I'm the most beautiful woman, and I think like nobody can tell me that I'm ugly at all. So like I even tell my fiance, I'm like, you can't tell me that I'm ugly because my dad thinks I'm so beautiful. But
Daddy
then
ranks over you.
yes, but then I found out that my dad told all my sisters that they were beautiful. So I'm like, what? I thought you said I'm the most beautiful. But that just goes to show he loves all of us. So, it's so nice to be able to know that your dad thinks you're very beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And as girls, especially when there's more than one girl in the family, right?
Hmm.
We all want to be daddy's favorite. And now
Yes.
we hear that, oh, the other sister got the same as us. Oh, so what did you do differently than your sisters?
So it's not what I did differently. The thing that I can trump them on is I'm the first girl. The thing I can say always is, hey, I was the first girl, and I'm always going to be the oldest, and I'm always going to be the favorite, because my name is Rosslyn, and actually my name is a split between my mom and my dad's name. So that's another thing that makes me special, that I get to tell my sisters. So I get a split from my name. From Rosendo is my dad's name, and then my mom's name is Catalina. So from Ross and Lynn, that's how they name me, Rosslyn.
Oh, I like it. And
Yeah.
I like your mom's name, Catalina. That's a beautiful name.
Yeah. And my daughter, who is 6, is also Catalina. So we named her after my mom.
So, Raza, what is your final message to all the listeners today?
I just want to say that don't keep silent. Your story could be the story that could change the life of someone else.
And Rosalind, if anybody wanted to reach you, how could they reach you? And if you just like to spell out your website.
Yes. Reached me at www.inspiredjournal.org, and there's a contact me button there, and you'll be able to reach me.
Awesome. And don't forget to check out May 20th and 21st. Check out that summit. The tickets can also be purchased on that website.
Yes.
I really just want to thank you, Rosslyn, for joining in. Thank you for all the people that are joining in and leaving comments and your support. I could not do this without all of you guys. So I'll just do a recap of what tea time was today, and then I'll see everybody tomorrow with 2 new tea times, and then on Thursday again for another 2. So it's a busy week for Miss Liz. So what a powerful and purposeful conversation. Rosslyn, thank you for the work you are doing to elevate voices that deserve to be heard. You remind us that storytelling is not just personal, it is influential. It has the ability to shape how we see ourselves, how we see others, and how we move forward in the world. This afternoon, we were reminded that visibility is not about attention. It is about impact. It's about creating spaces for voices that bring truth, experience, and leadership into the conversations that matter. Your work shows us that when we invest in people's stories, we are investing in change. Here is something to carry with you after this tea time. What stories are you holding back that could create impact if you chose to share it? Because your voice is not just for you. It has the power to influence, inspire, and open doors, not only for yourself, but for others. Until our next cup, keep sharing, keep speaking, keep showing up, and keep sharing the stories that matter. And I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time, same place, and we'll do this all over again.